Hello, my name is Quinn Jacobson. Thanks for joining me for just a brief reading of a paper I just wrote. Um, I called it, You're Obsessed with Death and Creativity. I don't understand what you're talking about. My interests lie in the intersection of the creative mind and mortality. In other words, art and death. Ernest Becker is at the center of this preoccupation. Most people, especially the creative types, don't understand how these ideas apply to their lives and creative life. Ernest Becker's theories on death anxiety are notoriously difficult to understand. This is because they challenge deeply ingrained psychological defenses that most people are not aware they possess. How can you understand something that you're not even aware of? One of his seminal works, The Denial of Death, posits that human behavior is inherently driven by death anxiety. This fear is obscured by cultural worldviews or meaning systems, which divert our attention from contemplating mortality. Evolutionary psychology teaches us that we've developed robust defenses to prevent us from acknowledging that all living things will eventually die, including ourselves. Becker's ideas require us to confront uncomfortable truths about mortality and the mechanisms we use to deny them. He challenges the foundations of how we live, create, work, and interact with the world. His theories are difficult to understand in part because they touch on unconscious levels of human experience. The fear of death, according to Becker, is so overwhelming and terrifying that the mind develops mechanisms to shield itself. By taking part in symbolic immortality projects, individuals strive to continue living beyond their physical death by pursuing creative endeavors, advancing their careers, raising children, or following religious beliefs. People struggle to accept the universality of these theories because it necessitates a shift in perspective to acknowledge seemingly positive or neutral behaviors as coping mechanisms for mortality, such as career aspirations, social status, or deeply held religious, political, or cultural beliefs. We use these as death anxiety buffers, but few recognize their function. The existential nature of Becker's work presents another challenge, since philosophy and psychology demand introspection and abstract thinking. He asks individuals to engage with their own mortality through not only theoretical, but also deeply personal ideas. The discomfort of facing one's inevitable death often leads to denial and distraction. In societies that glorify youth, achievement, fame, and the self, Becker presents a worldview that can be unsettling. Confronting this existential reality can cause intense anxiety as it forces individuals to consider whether their life choices, values, and beliefs are ultimately distractions from death. Individually and culturally, there are significant consequences when one fails to understand or engage with his ideas about death anxiety. Ignoring death anxiety can result in mental health issues like depression, obsessive behaviors, or compulsive striving for success. In other words, the fear of death can trap people in a cycle of achievement, consumerism, or ideological extremism without confronting the real cause of their anxiety. In the absence of this understanding, individuals may live in a state of constant unease, unconsciously aware that something is wrong, but unable to identify what it is. As a result of failing to grapple with these theories, a society may become overly devoted to materialism, nationalism, or rigid belief systems that give the illusion of immortality. According to Becker, death denial is the root cause of wars, ideological conflicts, and environmental destruction. Collective immortality projects, such as religious or nationalistic ideologies, often dehumanize those outside their group. Conflict and violence results from this. His work illuminates how our inability to confront death head-on shapes human behavior throughout the world. Artists who struggle with these concepts face unique challenges as well. Humanity has long explored mortality, fear, and the unknown through art. Artists, however, may miss opportunities for deeper introspection and profound expression if they fail to grasp the role of that death anxiety plays in their art. A lack of understanding of these potent ideas may lead artists to rely on superficial themes to elevate their work instead of embracing its existential core. The impact of death anxiety in artists may unconsciously steer their work toward in-group immortality projects, such as art for fame, validation, or social recognition, rather than grappling with existential questions. In The Denial of Death, Becker discusses Otto Ranke's creative transference idea and how it can buffer existential struggles for creative types. Zappa also addresses this in his essay, The Last Messiah. Zappa called it sublimation. The outcome could be work that lacks emotional depth and raw honesty when the artist is not facing mortality head-on. Art that ignores Becker's insights risks becoming merely a reflection of society's death-denying culture, not a challenge to it. Artists can also create work that resonates on a universal and human level by understanding these theories. Acknowledging death anxiety allows the artist to explore existential fear, vulnerability, and acceptance. In doing so, they will be able to push their art beyond the boundaries of personal or cultural denial. The work can provoke meaningful reflections in audiences, encouraging them to confront mortality rather than avoiding it or denying it. Death anxiety is not just an intellectual exercise, but a transformative tool for artists. As a result, they can explore the deeper truths of human existence and personal growth. The French philosopher Albert Camus said, "There is only one liberty, to come to terms with death. Thereafter, anything is possible." Thanks for listening.